Amanda joining us this evening?
She may already be at that 5:30 meeting.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I would doubt it. She'd be at that. But
Joining us this evening?
She may need to be.
Yeah, I guess it's what, just the preservation?
Yeah, actually, my next door neighbor who snow blew my sidewalk off is one of the guys on that commission. So, but I'm only counting 7 of us. Aren't we supposed? I mean, we're supposed to have 9 total. We're down 1.
Kirby, Tyson,
Kirby's here.
Sam.
Eileen's here.
I think.
What the heck are we missing?
I just admitted Amanda. All right, so we're good. We're live on YouTube, so we can go.
Okay,
anytime.
great. We won't worry who's not here because I can't figure it out. All right. Everybody should have gotten the meeting notes, and if you would refer to, hopefully you have them someplace close at hand, that Andy did for us, and I'll give you a minute or two to take a look at them if you've got them. I can hold it up and you can squint, but I don't want to mess around with putting it up on the meeting. Anybody have any additions or deletions or changes to last month's notes?
Nope.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve. If we have one, everybody's on mute.
So moved.
All right, Bob, thank you. And if I've got a second, anybody that raises their hand can be a second. All right, Kirby, good, gotcha. All in favor? You can actually, if you go under participants,
Mhm.
Isn't it under participants? You can use the raise your hand. Yeah, I don't see it there. Oh, there it is. Yeah, use your raise your hand. All you have to do is select that as by putting your hand up to. I don't know where the raise the hand is. Oh yeah, it's if you go under under participants, shows up in the right hand side at the very bottom. There are yes, no, blah blah blah. You can just raise your hand.
Okay, I don't see the yes, no yet. I got my name here, but.
All right, so look at the very bottom, Bob. If you pull up participants and you get all the participants,
I got
you'll
Sam
see.
first. I don't see there. Yeah.
Mine's not showing it either.
Yeah,
I know sometimes
as the
people
host,
have
it's
that
not
problem.
showing on mine. How about we just go like this
Okay.
and move
Okay.
on? We got limited time here, Steve.
All right. So
Aye.
since anyone
It's
opposed,
not very controversial.
say nay. Otherwise, we'll say that they stand approved as written. Thanks again, Andy. All right. That's our first agenda question. Sorry.
No, my pleasure.
Oh, you're okay. Great.
Go for it.
And for
All
the
right.
record, Steve, for the record, we have everyone here. I just checked the list.
Yes, I realized we did. So, I don't know why I was counting wrong. Anyway. All right, under our old and continuing business, just a quick note that under the Community Foundation grant that will allow us to purchase bicycle racks for downtown. There'll be either 2 or 3 or 2 or 1 inverted U, I think. And those will go in sometime this spring. I have tomorrow night, Thursday night, I have a grant recipient orientation. I guess it used to be kind of a party, but the only party we can have on Zoom is if you bring your own. So I'll take notes. If there's anything else we need to know about that, I'll communicate next month. I have one other item that I forgot to include, and along with the Community Foundation grant, we also have the opportunity to apply for the Ohio American Academy of Pediatrics grant for getting some more helmets. We did not end up giving them most of ours away, or I guess we were a little less than half that we gave away. On the other hand, we'll only get about 4 dozen more helmets, and they're all either small children or medium-sized children's helmets. Is the grant application is relatively simple. I'll be glad to take care of that. The only thing, Kristen reminded me that we still have quite an inventory of helmets. The ones that we purchased were split between adult and children. And then the ones we have left from last year are small children and, I don't know, regular size children helmets. And I guess our biggest problem is inventory storage, because Kristen's office is full of helmets. If we can come up with, what I'm hoping is we can figure out some place where we can store them so that Kristen actually has a functioning office. But I wanted to check and see what people's thoughts were. We're hoping for a relatively normal summer where we would have the opportunity to go to a number of the farmers markets, maybe to the advanced safety town. And even in May, if we're able to do the third grader assembly again, we'll have lots of opportunities to distribute helmets.
I'm guessing, Steve, I'm guessing I would not even propose that to the schools right now.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they're just going back hybrid next week. So I don't think that's something that's
Right.
gonna get approved. So I think we just wait a year on that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But we have
just to
we have
confirm,
multiple opportunities in the summer. Anybody else have an opinion?
is this to confirm this is another grant by the board of pediatricians, right? Another
Correct.
grant
It's
that
like, it's exactly the same as last year.
okay. And it's four dozen you say about, or is it only going to be kids bikes, or are there also going to be adult or helmets? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's only
Kids.
kids,
Only kids. Got it.
right? Hence the pediatric part of the organization.
Yeah.
Anyway, there would be an opportunity for us to make sure we have plenty to disseminate. People pick them up, despite all of the constraints. We still, I think we're able to distribute someplace in the neighborhood of 20 of them, of people that came to the community center and picked them up. So, and I guess our orientation would be towards kids that don't have them, especially if they don't have the finances or whatever for helmets. So any other pros, cons about it? Otherwise, I will do the application there. It's not due until March 6th. So I'll get working at it, and then we'll figure out some place. Maybe we'll have to rent a someplace for storing helmets for a while. Kristen, can you, Kristen shared with me the budget situation for our next item.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
emailed that to you and I don't have it in front of me. So do you have what I
Okay.
emailed you?
Well, let's see. If I recall, we were 2,500. Our budget was 2,500 in 2020, and I believe it's 1,200 in 2020,
It's like 1250 or something like that.
something like that. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's about half of what we had, and it's, which is understandable because of the financial strictures. Particularly since we've got the Community Foundation grant and presumably the Academy of Pediatrics grant, we should be fine with 1,250 bucks this year. Item C on our agenda. This is the one that I expect will take most of our time, and I'm going to ask Andy and Bob and Kirby to kind of lead us in this. Hopefully you've got access to the handouts that I distributed. Basically, what the committee did is they took the bike route suggestions, the 2.5 we saw last month, and created version 3.0. They updated some of the things on that version. There are basically 16 routes as opposed to the current map that we've had I think 15, and we created basically one extra route. And the one of the unique things about this version 3.0 is the work that Kirby and Bob and Andy did was they also created a level of difficulty relative to these. A level 1 is considered to be for novice riders. Level 2 is for the general rider, kind of intermediate. Level 3s are ones where there's a lot more traffic, the speed limit's a little higher, probably for stronger, more experienced riders. So we have those. I don't want to take our time to go through each one of the routes. You can look at it. I don't know if Andy, Bob, or Kirby, if you have any particular suggestions about things that you may have checked, changed, or done something with on this longer list of routes.
Well, I think Andy went through and we kind of talked about him. I think he made a lot of good suggestions there, and I still haven't got to talk to Andy since that revised one you've got, the shorter ones there. So, but I think everybody that uses these are going to have to follow directions. And if you have someone novice in town who's never been to Bowling Green, they might have a little difficulty finding the streets and so forth. But hopefully, by having a good map with the directions on them, they can kind of figure out where they're at by a little experimentation, I guess, and riding around town with somebody's new in town and trying to start biking around town. Hopefully, they're going to be able to learn the routes like we know, or at least we know the streets more so. Although sometimes when we start naming streets, I forget. I didn't think, which one's this? Where's it at? And connecting there and so forth. So I get a little confused myself sometimes.
Okay. Any thoughts, Kirby, on ideas that you had?
No, not really. Bob really hit the major points. Connecting Conneaut through was like, that was a big point. And Oh, geez. Sorry.
I think some big ones were what Clough and Winter Garden were obviously not on the previous bike map. So I think those were two of the very major roads that needed to be added just because of the access to businesses, to schools, whatever that both of those grant you. I think, the version 3.0 was, what Bob and Kirby and I talked about when we got together for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, a couple weekends ago. And we also, actually, Kirby had made a few good points of previous map. There were, like Haskins as a whole, for instance. It's a whole lot easier to ride a bicycle on certain portions of Haskins than others. Like north of Poe Road is a little hairier than south of Poe Road. And that was part of the discussion and what actually led into the reduced amount of routes were kind of separating these roads that were their own routes, but separating them into another route that the ease of the cycling would, as a whole for riding on Conneaut or that southern part of Haskins would be a lot easier than the northern part of Haskins and riding on Brim. So we kind of were looking into marrying the difficulty levels, I guess, of the roads. It was something that we were looking into.
Okay. I just realized, of course, the map that I sent everybody, let me see if I can. I guess it does not rotate. At least I can't see a rotation fact. Nope. I wanted to put up the map. I guess we can do that. Kristen, can you give me share
Yeah.
rights? And then we'll see if,
All right, you're a co-host. You should be able to.
all right, let's see. It didn't let me, there we go. Okay. Can everybody, no, you're seeing my email. That's not what I wanted. Let me put this here, stop share, share again. Here we go. All right. Now, with apologies, because this is, east is on the top here. So you have to lean sideways, I guess. So here's what I did. And you also have a list that was the fourth handout that came. And what Andy did was after he and Kirby and Bob met is the idea was to see if they could trim down the number of different routes. And so he's proposed seven larger routes. The Northwest route, the high school route, West BG, Southwest route, Central BG, BGSU route, and East Side Orbit. And so what I've done is what I sent to you, each of the numbers, I color coded it. So the red numbers are the Northwest route. And you can look here. These are, and I will have to say that I wasn't positive that I got everything right from the description. But it looked to me that, Haskins, as you were just saying, Haskins from Poe Road out to the community center is a bit of a hairy ride, especially when the speed limit goes up to 50. The uh, Newton Road. So this is going from where my little hand thing is. That's the community center in Haskins. Newton Road is actually a nice ride. It's not terribly busy. This section from the community center to the first intersection actually currently has a little bit of an off-road trail that was installed years ago. It's pretty overgrown and it's just crushed gravel, but it's the beginning of a route. Brim is another one that has a somewhat higher speed limit. It's the site of one of our bicycle fatalities over the last half dozen years or something. But it's also the push, if you remember, Bill Harold really is keen on getting, he's got some citizens who've been pushing about getting Coogan's Corners here connected up with the rest of the city. So there are several different routes possible. You could go in from Coogan's Corners on Brim and then turn either on Newton or on Van Camp. So that's number one. Number two is called the high school route, and I'm not sure that I gave it. So Fairview from Newton to Conneaut. So there's Conneaut and Fairview in blue, and then across Poe, West Poe, from Main Street to, and it goes all the way to Winter Garden, and then that section of Haskins is called the high school route. The West BG is the green, the light green here. Conneaut, Haskins, part of Winter Garden, Pearl, and Maple, plus a couple other little extensions to Main Street. So that's three on your route. Then,
route number three, there were definitely roads like Martindale or Winfield, or even we were talking about Gorell. I kind of shaved off just because they were more neighborhoods, and it's so much easier, and we don't, people are going to be more cautious just anyways in the neighborhoods with bicycles and cars. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out.
I think that's a good. And then the southwest route, also the we can call it the Eileen route over here. So Sand Ridge and the Slippery Elm Trail and Gypsy Lane, and let's see, in the southern part of Winter Garden are the elements to the southwest route. The orange ones here are the central BG routes. East Po to Napoleon. So I think Prospect from East Po. So I probably made a mistake here because I've got this Po to Napoleon as part of the BGSU route.
Oh, Prospect.
On Prospect. Actually, it's on both of them, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Well, if
Yeah,
I,
so
I
this-
think that the new routes look good.
yeah, I mean,
I'd say-
what I
I'd
like
to
about
improve
them, Eileen, is that there are fewer of them. What
I
else
just
are
think
you
they
thinking?
describe- I don't know that, I mean, I think it just, no one's gonna sit there and say, gosh, I need to stay on one in order to, or two in order to get, you just need to designate them. And I think the new designations represent better how we really ride around in town. So I think that you could break it up more and make twice as many routes, but the same streets that you've drawn on the map would be in them. So I think the new designation is fine with me.
Good. I guess the only thought that I had is we probably could do a little bit based upon the questions I raised in the discussion questions there. Pull them out for a second. Too many notes. The only thing that I think might be missing a little bit on the 7, and it may be just because I read it wrong, but I think several of the schools, for example, Kenwood and Crim, are both not really represented. They're close on a couple of these, but I think we probably could extend those a little bit. And I'm also thinking that going across on the BGSU route, if we included Ridge and Mary, that would give 2 other ways of accessing campus. That would be fairly simple. I think this is Mary here and Ridge.
I think that would be a good idea. I mean, we should always have the schools, and like
Right.
Kenwood is just a little jog that actually connects on the backside of the Gypsy or of the Slippery Elm Trail, so that's good to include because that's one of the places it'll dump you off if you take the little bridge across.
And the other thing, thank you for mentioning that because there's the new little connections off of the main Slippery Elm Trail that cut back through here over to whatever street Kenwood's on. Is it on Kenwood Street? But basically, there's a connection through here that we probably ought to include as part of the Slippery Elm. And we could extend, I did not extend Sand Ridge all the way out to Main Street. I should have. That was a mistake on the map. I also think we can probably connect on the east side orbit, probably connect the northern part of Campbell Hill Road here. This center one, just for everybody's information, is it said East Worcester from Dunbridge to Mercer. Everything from the red BGSU square out here is that new bike path, which I noticed because I haven't been out much, but I went to Meyer the other day because my wife's quarantining right now. And I realized that no one has plowed the bike path, which is something I don't know that many people take it,
Same with my neighborhood onto the Slippery Elm. There's, unless you want to throw your bike onto.
Same. Yeah.
At this point, I don't think you're going to get onto it.
So anyway, I do think between the 16 routes versus the 7, I think with a few additions here and a couple of corrections, that I think we've got probably a pretty good set of routes. The bike transportation plan talked about biking corridors, and I think the subcommittee has kind of devised those fairly well. You look at the east and west and north and south. There's ways to do that across virtually every part of town. So I think, I think let's do one more kind of edit on this 7 and next month we can take a look and finalize that. And then we'll, instead of me and my little dry erase marker, we'll see if somebody can actually do the color connections, somebody at the city. I know when Jason Cisco was the engineer, he had minions or something that somebody that did that on the maps. So I think we can look at that and try to get that finalized. And then depending on whether we put out our own little regular street map or we make some progress on the fancier map that we've been talking about, we can go forward with that. So I would like to thank Andy and Bob and Kirby for your work. It's always great to have a subcommittee who took their duties so seriously. So appreciate that.
Hey, Steve, real quick for my secretarial duties here. Just some notes on the bike routes. So the school should be taken into account. So we're talking about adding Kenwood and maybe even possibly adding Crim off of Clough.
Correct.
And then also Mary and Ridge through campus. Does that sound like we covered most edits?
And because I think, let's just see if we've got everything. Oh, right. If we do Ridge, then we'll get Ridge Park. We already have Carter Park. Sure. Or I guess if we extend Campbell Hill out part way, we'll get Carter Park in. We've got Conneaut's got City Park in there, and it also will have Conneaut School.
Sure.
We've got the high school, so the high school and middle school routes. We've got the community center. Are there any other, school or park destinations that we're not? And we've got the downtown area and the
something interesting I had read in an article from, I don't know, a couple weeks ago now, but going back to route number 1, the northwest route, the Humane Society right now is in talks, and they're like, I'm pretty sure they have approval from everyone but city council to do a land swap. So they're going to be moving their lands around, and the city is going to acquire a piece of Van Camp. And even in the interview, I can't remember who had said this, but they were talking about using that land on Van Camp as a possible connector, not a whole connector, but a piece of it between the high school and the community center. So that's something we should definitely keep an eye on if something goes through for that.
Okay. That's before council tonight, but I think
that's tonight. Okay.
I think it's first or second reading. So, but it's in process.
Awesome.
Okay. Any other questions for the notes and stuff, Andy? I think
I've got schools should be taken into account, add Kenwood and Crim possibly, also add Marion Ridge through campus. We will do one more edit to hopefully finalize the routes.
Yep. Good.
One small edit idea. Maybe include South Maple off of Gypsy Lane because it goes to the trail and it has some nice restrooms right there.
That's already on. That should be South Main right there, or South Main. That's Maple.
No, South Maple off of. If you're on Gypsy Lane, there's a small section of South Maple that runs into the new section of the trail.
Yeah. Where we met up for the night ride a couple summers ago.
I didn't know that was South Maple. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's great. Add that if you would, Andy. Add that to the notes. Sure. And also connecting Campbell Hill out as well.
Actual bathroom.
Say that again.
That's where they have the bathroom. It's actual running water bathroom. that
I
comes
never
off
even put
of.
that together that it was South Maple.
Yeah, those,
I know,
it's
it's
actually
weird
a
'cause
nice set of bathrooms right there.
Okay, that's a great idea. Oh, and one other note, Andy, off of the Slippery Elm Trail, the new connection that goes out and comes out by Kenwood, and then the South Maple here. So we'll have a connection like a T in there as well.
Sure. If we had Kenwood, the access from Kenwood to the Slippery Elm, right?
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Good. All
So
right. Thank you.
You're saying the
Tyson, that's
Black
great.
Swamp Preserve, Steve?
I'm sorry.
That's the Black Swamp Preserve. Is that what we're talking about?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Moving on. I didn't get a chance to get any other information for the city about the infrastructure ratings, so I've listed that as tabled. I want to stay on there so we don't forget about it, and I will see if I can still get the data from the city. Anybody have any suggestions for the feedback about the city transportation plan? I'm sure you used it for bedtime reading over the last month.
I was reading through. I mean, it looks like a lot of the things that we were just discussing about the routes, we already have, under the notes for potential study areas for future improvements and whatnot.
Yep.
There was the question from the previous section of your agenda draft about South Main. Are they still projecting 2024 for all that work?
As far as I know.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that was another thought I had, that South Main will actually be, so these are bicycle routes that will be probably, at least currently, the only bicycle lane, that'll be adjacent to a road in town. I don't know. I'm assuming it's starting at Napoleon, and I don't know how far south they go, whether it'll just go as far as Gypsy Lane. But by including this leg of Gypsy Lane, that means that that new South Main will actually have, it won't be basically a lane to nowhere. It will link up to the Gypsy lane, either going route going either east or west. So, okay.
And we're thinking that's Gypsy Lane. How far north is it going to go? To Napoleon?
No, that's South Main. Gypsy Lane only goes east and west. And
yeah, the portion of South Main, we're doing Gypsy Lane to Napoleon is what they're talking about installing this bike lane, or where they're talking about.
I believe so. I think it
Okay.
starts at Napoleon, and I'm not sure how far, whether it goes south of Gypsy Lane or not. I don't know that yet. And one other connection, if you'd make a note, Andy.
Sure.
What we did is Gypsy Lane to went as far east as Klotz. So Klotz, if we also include Klotz and South College as either part of 4 or part of the BGSU route, maybe BGSU route, since that's a big student area there. South College and Klotz would also allow people to get down to Gypsy Lane and back up to campus. So we can enhance that route a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Tyson, any bike, I think I saw a pedestrian accident. I don't know if I doubt there haven't been many bicycles out recently, but any accidents that you've got to report to us?
No, from what I could see in the last couple of months, I didn't see any.
Okay, good.
I did arrest a bicyclist for DUI though. Most people don't think you can get a DUI on a bike.
Oh, of course you can. Yeah. Interesting.
It's harder to get on a bike when you're drunk, but
So I
there you go.
guess you could consider that a crash because he wiped out in the middle of Worcester Street at Manville. So
Oh,
We
But-
shouldn't laugh. It's serious, but
no,
interesting.
no crashes in the last couple of months that I'm aware of.
Good. We don't usually have many bicycle incidents this time of the year, although I have been surprised at the number of people I've seen on bicycles in the last couple of weeks. I've been on mine because I ride out to North Main to get physical therapy. And so just to be a show off, I've been riding out there, but not since the last two snowstorms. And I guess we're going to get another one the day after tomorrow. So I may have to try to find some cross-country skis. All right. The only other thing that I forgot to include, Kristen, if you'd report about your email exchange with Shannon Orr about a bicycle survey.
Yeah, and I made a note at the beginning of the meeting, so I wouldn't forget. But yeah, thank you, Steve. So at the last meeting, we discussed, and I think it might have been Amanda's idea, which was an excellent one, to reach out to Dr. Orr at the university and see if she had a group that might do a survey for us of residents in terms of which streets they bike on the most and maybe which ones they would like to. I don't know, we'd have to give them a little more direction, but kind of, in along the lines of when we were talking about some of these sorts of things, it'd be good data points to have. So I did email her last week and she got right back to us, and it sounds like she might have a couple of students over the summer that could maybe do that as part of an internship and work with us on putting that together. The other potential would be next fall. She usually has a class where a group of grad students do these sorts of projects, but I don't think this would be as intensive as some of the other things. So I think a summer project for 1 or 2 students working with us would be good. I think it'd be good timing because that would really be kind of in the forefront of their minds in terms of getting out and biking. And so anyway, so I think we're gonna hopefully be able to proceed with that. So just be thinking about exactly, what all we want to ask. And of course they would be able to word things appropriately and send that information out and then collect the data and get a report together for us. So
Great. Yeah, the email was quite a bit more positive than I was. I don't know Shannon, but I just, most faculty members that I know, the last year has been pretty rough on all teachers. And so I thought, oh, she's going to say, maybe we can do something, but she was quite positive about it. So if anybody has over the next month or so, if you're thinking about a survey, what kind of questions could we ask that could be fairly straightforward? If you would just jot them down someplace so that I'll make that as an agenda item just to kind of brainstorm what are some of the questions we want to ask riders that would give us information that might be helpful in adjusting the bike routes or a variety of other things that we may not know about.
yeah, and I guess, Steve, just to kind of flip that a little bit, don't worry so much about the question. What we want to know is what information do we want to know?
Yeah.
Because then that's where they, so, professionally, I guess, and expertly come in terms of, okay, if you want to know X, here's what we need to ask. So don't get hung up on that. Just look at it more of, okay, what is it that we
What do
really
we
want
wanna
to
know?
know?
Hey, Kristen, real quick, doctor, what was the doctor's name that you emailed with from BSU?
Dr. Shannon Orr, and it's ORR.
ORR, SHANNON.
Correct.
Correct.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. The only other item I have on the agenda is whether we have any suggestions for topics, educational articles that we could put in the Sentinel or the BG Independent Media about bicycling. And then the second part of that is besides suggestions of topics, volunteers who would be willing to come up with, short little articles. I think we're probably talking 200 to 500 words is all. It can't be very long. In fact, 500 is probably a little lengthy.
Well, I think too, right off the bat, I mean, for me is, and I think this is where this maybe stems from, is the why you should not, like, you not to ride against traffic. So that whole thing of, if you're thinking back to like the 70s and 80s, that's not correct. You ride with traffic, your vehicle, and maybe explaining why that's the case, why it's so dangerous. Because that's the thing where I saw a couple people's lives flash before my eyes. And you still see people doing it, and it's not just kids, it's adults. And then I think the other thing at some point that would be good to tackle is, again, that misnomer of, well, it's safer to ride on the sidewalk. And sometimes maybe it is, but really explaining, how every driveway then is an intersection.
It's an intersection, yeah. And the intersections is where all the accidents happen. Intersections, and as Tyson always reminds us, sidewalks. That's where he gets 90% of his bicycle ones. So I wrote those down. And if you have other ideas and are willing to volunteer to, and you don't have to do it alone, if you wanted to work with a partner on a little item that we can put out. But for starters, we can look at not riding against traffic and the dangers of riding on the sidewalk, which again, a lot of people think that that's the safest thing to do. And then we can obviously, the importance of wearing a helmet and the rules of the road. There's, several different kinds of things we can contribute there. And any other, new business, new ideas for the good of the order?
I would just add to your last topic, not to get too worried about formatting or length. I mean, certainly don't make it like 5 pages, but if you have somebody who's willing to do the content, Joe and I can take it and break it down into all the different formats. So whether it goes out as a press release or whether it is posted to the website, social media, e-news, we have all kinds of different tricks for linking longer articles and getting people to click on them.
Good.
So don't worry too much about, the length of it. I mean, if you have something that you feel needs to be longer to get the point across, that can go as a full press release. We're really finding that the news is mostly just copying and pasting what we're sending them. So include some links. I mean, they'll include links too, especially BG Independent, so people can click right from there. And then if we do it in the e-news, it does have to be shorter, but we can always post a website and link back. So don't get too worried about, your format or your length. We can certainly, tailor it to all the different avenues. It's just the content that we really need help with. So
And I mean, we could even link this if we had a place to store them, a server or whatever. We could also have links on our website as well, on the bike safety website.
Yeah, and Steve, that's probably what we'll do. We'll post to the homepage as a news release, but then we can also, I can copy them to the bike safety page.
Okay.
So you're all aware, the city website is getting completely redone. We're in
Oh,
the
good.
process of working with a team on that. It should launch in June if we keep on pace. So I'm not exactly sure how they're going to organize the bike safety page yet. But hopefully this new format and new site will be a little bit more user friendly and a
Good.
bit more easier for people to navigate. So just kind of keep that in mind. What we add, might get rearranged or, taken off at some point and put somewhere else or whatever as we move through this process with them. So.
Great. Okay. Yeah, and the last item, and I have the message that came from Heather Saylor reminds me the link, the URL that's in your agenda, as well as the link that came from the e-news. See what ODOT is doing. They really do want to look at this Walk Bike Ohio program that they're doing, and they're really looking for feedback. So I think it's almost 100-page PDF, but there's a lot of pictures, and it's not all text. So if you can get some time to do that, again, it's walk.bike.ohio. And they're looking for any kind of feedback whatsoever. And you guys all have really good ideas. So if you could provide some of that feedback, that would be great. Anything else for the good of the order? Thank you, Amanda, by the way.
This actually goes back to Amanda. I think my internet connection crapped out for a half second. What she was talking about for something about a link and about safety, bike safety somewhere on the internet. I completely missed her last comment.
Basically, they would house anything we wrote could be housed on our website, and then a link, and part of it, like the first paragraph, could appear in the e-news, and a link then to see more, whatever. That to get people to click on it. So we can have a little bit more information, but and if you don't, I don't know, does everybody get the e-newsletter? Comes out on Wednesdays, right? And then I get it again on Sunday for some reason, maybe because I'm special.
You don't open it.
You didn't open it on Wednesday, Steve. Way to out yourself.
It pokes you again.
Note to self, if you don't want to get this on Sunday, open it.
Read it on Wednesday.
Read it on Wednesday, okay. But that's, I never realized that. But that had a real nice short article about it, and there were links in it to go to the ODOT Walk Bike Ohio program, and a link to get to the survey. So take advantage of that. And if you can't find it, send me an email and I'll be glad to get a link for you. Copy it. All right.
The other thing that does, Steve, is when you do different topics, it lets us see, because we get analytics as e-news is. So it lets us see what residents are clicking on the most. So if we happen to see that there's a particular subject that was really a hot item in the e-news, we can let you know that and be like, hey,
that's great.
Your topic on XYZ has gotten more clicks than any of our other articles this week. Maybe we should put a little bit more emphasis on that and come up with some more creative ways of getting the word out on that, whatever that topic is. So we can.
Yeah, I forgot that you said that. That's something that that you can keep, that you can track. That's good. Wonderful. All right. Hearing no other business, we can stand adjourned, and we'll meet you same place, same time, March 16th at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Hope the snow's gone by then.